Policies of neglect, and that is what today's topic is all about. So stay tuned on the show, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things to pile into. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning into PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent and I'm the host. Today, we're going to be talking about policies of neglect. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today, and with me being here in Victoria and Neil being in, well, Surrey. Yeah, it's big Surrey. Surrey is the biggest municipality of British Columbia, and it's growing. It's really growing. And so is the PWD Allies podcast. From what I'm hearing, a lot of people in my community are tuning in to the PWD Allies podcast. So thank you.
That's great.
People that I've been hearing, and it's really spreading really good, and I'm really proud of that. So I want to thank each and every one of you for subscribing and tuning into our show. We talk about so many things, and that's where I'm going to start today's show off as we talk about a lot of lived experience stories. We bring in people from all walks of life of lived experience stories, politicians, transit planners, you name it, we bring them on. And if you'd like to come on to the show and talk about your lived experience stories, how it affects your life. I mean, is it government policies of neglect? Is it, living in legislated poverty, government neglect? I mean, purposely the policies. We'd love to hear from you. We'll line you up. We have lots of spaces that open up on our calendar. And I know who's coming on because the calendar shows me in advance who's coming on. But I guess that's where I'm going to kind of branch that off, where now today, where I branch off, it's been a sober week for me on a personal level. So, I just want to kind of get into that right now. A lot of you realize that I've been going through a lot of hard times lately. I've been kind of taking some holiday time here and there, personal time, breaking up the summer into segments. Why we've been doing that is we've been trying to go and visit Sonjia's grandma, who was in hospital. And I say the past tense now was, we had gone in to see her in the summer, due to the transit strike, because of Transdev purposely neglecting to deal with their bargaining agreement with Cowichan Transit, which was contracted out by BC Transit to Transdev, a third-party company in France. It's basically left a lot of people homeless. People lost their jobs. People can't commute to the community from Victoria to Cowichan, like to Duncan and surrounding areas. From Nanaimo, they can get to Cowichan, but they can't get to Cowichan from Victoria. So it's really caused a lot of problems. People can't even get to diagnostic appointments or any kind of appointments. They can't get to food banks. They can't get to their jobs that they work at in the communities. It's just been a whole mess. And it's been a real whole mess for Sonjia and myself, because Sonjia's grandma had taken a real bad fall in her home. In June, and right away we thought, well, we need to go and see her, right? Because she was in hospital, and obviously you want to go and see a family member, and family's been really very supportive over the time, because understanding that we can't get to and from Nanaimo, so Sonjia's dad had to come all the way out and pick us up in Victoria, drive us all the way out to Nanaimo, and then take us back from Nanaimo back to Victoria, and then drive all the way back again. So 2 round trips.
Yeah, and remind people that don't know, what the
2 hours.
It's 2 hours, yeah.
2 hours. It takes 2 hours each way. I mean, that's 8 hours of driving, where simply we could have just jumped on a bus and actually went out on public transit, and she went out there from Victoria and made her way out. When there's an emergency, you need to go and like stop what you're doing if you can and go and see a family member. Well, it was emergency, but we couldn't get there. You know, and I talked to BC Transit. Oh, well, yeah, you could go and take BC ferries, take the whole long way around. Oh, you can go to Brentwood Bay, go to Mill Bay. I go, problem is there's no transit. Oh, really? Yeah, because it's run by Cowichan Transit. They're on strike. I said, because you are allowing Transdev to provide the service. You opted it out, right? Contract out. So battling with all that, trying to figure out how do we get to Nanaimo to go and see her grandma and see her parents too, because we hadn't seen them since April. And I mean, it's quite a while. And you know, they're getting older, right? We want to spend more time with her parents too. And you know, I got relatives, you know, out that way too, and you know, I want to see them. And so we went out and we finally did out, long story short, we did get out there to see her grandma in hospital. Good days, bad days. I could see, you know, her slipping a bit because, you know, her age. I mean, she was 94 years old, and real feisty lady. I mean, her and I would get into debates. I'd talk about politics and who she likes and who she doesn't like. But at the end of the day, you know, she said it really came down to policies. It really came down to government policies, and they could be changed just like that. She said, just like that. And it's such a political will. She said it's just they need to be motivated to do so. So we got into a lot of discussions, and so we spent a lot of time with her, and we got back. And then we started the podcast again, and we got the shows going. We had a really bad cold over the summer too, for about 3 weeks there. It just would not go away, and so that really put a corker in for us going out to visit her grandma in hospital. So that kind of delayed us getting out. So we spent as much quality time as we could getting out there and spending time with her. And it was nice. It was so nice to see her. Not realizing that, fast forward. Her health condition deteriorated. She got sick, more sick when she was in hospital, and you know, had gone through rehabilitation, they call it, into another area where fitness. They were showing her how to move her arms, and she had fractured her hip, just so everybody knows, and she had fallen, and she had got really sick too. But they, you know, kind of rehabilitation process where you got to move your arm and move your legs and so you're not stiff, right? I mean, get limber. She did the best she could. But coughing was a huge issue going forward for her due to her health condition. I mean, very frail, right? I mean, at that age, but she did the best she could. And so we got a call from Sonja's mom saying that you know, grandma's not doing well. Doctors had called and said that she had kind of really slipped and deteriorated a lot more than when we saw her. I'm like, oh no. They were keeping an eye on her. And then COVID actually struck in the hospital. Her mother wanted to see her. She was not able to go in. And later, I guess that evening, she then got a call again saying that prepare you know, your mother for, you know, the end of life process, because she was really coughing a lot and really not doing well. So they had made a decision to you know, give an anesthetic, if I get that word right, you know, anesthetic. You know, it's like when they put you under, right? And they had made that decision. And made her as comfortable as she could. She then fell into a very deep sleep, and that was it. We got a call on Sunday evening on September 7th saying that she's gone, and she passed away. She passed away peacefully in her sleep, and God rest her soul. I'm going to miss her a lot. Sonja's going to miss her gratefully a lot, because Sonjia enjoyed phoning her. She would just, you know, hi grandma, oh hi Sonjia, you know, and they would have a long talk. I mean, they would talk for over an hour. Sometimes I think one day, Sonjia, was it almost 2 hours you were on the phone talking to her. And I mean, that's one thing that Sonja's going to miss a lot, gratefully a lot. I'm going to miss a lot. talking about just about politics with her. I mean, yeah, because she went through a lot. I mean, she went through the Great Depression. She went through recessions. Um, Talk about housing. I mean, why is things happening the way they are? Why are things in the world happening the way they are? And so I got a lot of knowledge from her and learning from her and comparing what my mom used to tell me when I was a kid. And so I would kind of compare all these things back and forth.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I'm going to miss gratefully. But on the positive note, I really enjoyed the visits that I did have with her. I got to know her over years. Such a lovely, dear lady. She meant so well and for others and cared so much. And so she's going to be deeply missed within the family. But first, also, I want to thank each and every one of you. Where you could, when you took the initiative to thank me very much.
Yeah, you got a lot of support online, on the YouTube channel here and on Twitter.
Yeah, I got a lot of thank yous and people who maybe didn't know what we had gone through. And I totally understand, because maybe you're just tuning in now and you're just hearing the news now that what had happened. And I thank you for your support too. I'm just speechless, because I mean the comments that were coming in, they were so supportive to Sonjia and myself, and we took a little bit of time for grieving for ourselves, and so I was very slow in responding to messages. I would just heart symbol them. I didn't even respond. There was a couple that I threw out, like some gifs, here and there. So we really had to go through a lot of I guess soul searching on how to cope with the grieving process. I personally had gone through that myself with losing my mom and my mother, and so it was kind of reliving a little bit of that moment again for a bit. I was really feeling really down and out myself of in that morning, but that's normal. That's a normal process of going through that, of the loss of, well, it's like so lonely of saying, well, I can't phone that person now. I can't see that person, but you can.
And this is why I wanted to do the show, Brent, because I mean, I cleared it with you and Sonjia beforehand. I said, it's a truth and a fact that almost nobody likes to talk about death, right? I mean, it's one of those taboo things. It's like, let's not talk about death, and when somebody dies, it's like, what do you say? Like nobody has. I mean, I lost my first wife. And even when I hear somebody experiences death again, it's like, what do you say, right? And if you don't know what to say, then probably the best thing is to say almost nothing and say, I'm sorry for your loss, and just leave it at that. But it is a hard thing. Death is a hard thing, and not very many people want to talk about it. So I wanted to clear it with you to see if you wanted to use the death of Sonjia's grandma as an opportunity to talk about death. So we had already planned the show around Sonjia's grandma for doing the show, but then in the interim, on Wednesday, we had the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now I have to say, yesterday, Dan Trays put out a video about Charlie Kirk's assassination as well, and I found it interesting that what he said, because I have the same opinion as him, is that I didn't really know Charlie Kirk by name, like for whatever reason. Maybe I should have known, but I think here in Canada, I think almost everybody did know him, but I didn't know him by name. So it's not a frontal cortex thing where, I mean, I saw him all the time doing debates. Like he loved doing debates, so I'd see all these videos of him, but I thought, well, this is a cool debate, but I didn't really know who he was. And Dan said the same thing yesterday on his thing, is that, like, I think everybody knew who he was, but maybe didn't know his name. And so, but now that he's been assassinated, you can see that in a small way, I did a little bit of a tribute today to our American friends. This is a little bit of Americana here, the American heroes. So I want to, as in solidarity with our American friends, it's really, really terrible what happened. And
well, with Charlie Kirk, the debates were he'd be there to listen to all sides. From my understanding, as I was reading up on a little bit about him, and he would listen, be more than welcome to listen to all debates, and he would challenge people on that, and saying, "They give me the facts, like prove me why are you saying certain things." But he would never not take that debate. He would always listen. Yeah. And that's the thing that I think that stands out the most is, there's political sides but he would take, whatever side it was, and he would listen to whatever side it was.
Let's be honest though. I mean, he was a conservative.
Yes.
And he did have a Christian faith, so he was a big believer in God, just like I am. I'm a Christian man as well. And so, his faith was important to him. But, one of his quotes was, and I'm not going to get it exactly right, but one of his quotes was, it's a problem when we all stop talking. When we all stop talking, that's a problem. And so a big part of his messaging and a big part of why he created the movement that he did, the political movement that he did with conservative values, was to get people talking. And one of the narratives that's is going around big on Twitter since the assassination of Charlie Kirk is that no one should die because of a political opinion, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
That is the truth. Just because
Absolutely.
you have an opinion, that does not give anybody a license to kill another person just because you disagree with their opinion.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that too, where he said that he didn't want to see or hear people being silenced out because of their opinion. And that reminds me of a time where it's kind of a parallel. I was thinking about that early this morning, that he didn't want people to be silenced out. That their opinion is their opinion, but he didn't want to see violence. Like there was no violence. He said in his last quotes that he made at his rally that too many. They asked him how many. He says too many, and meaning too many. There's too much violence.
But then he was shot, so it seemed like it was set up. It seemed like it was set up. Yeah. Yeah, and with that parallel where he didn't want to hear people being silenced out. That reminds me of a time where there was somebody who had told me at a town hall who said, "Well, you need to keep your advocacy, tone it down, otherwise you'll be silenced. Stop talking."
So, you'll be silenced out because it's like you're advocating too much. And fast forward over time at other town halls. I remember talking to our former Premier, John Horgan, who was the Premier of British Columbia, and God rest your soul, John. I brought that same quote up to him at that time, and I said, John, I remember a time I was at a town hall meeting, and I told him, I said, I wouldn't say who, and he goes, no, that's fine. I said, but somebody told me to tone down the advocacy because if you push the narrative too far, people are going to silence you out. Yeah. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, you got to hold the politicians accountable. He says, I'm the premier. You got to hold me accountable, Brent. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. Don't be rude. Don't be rude and obnoxious and use swear words and curse words, because otherwise, you will be silenced out. You can use action words of saying now, the word now, or different.
You make a good point, Brent, because this goes all the way back to when you approached me initially about doing even back for the Twitter Spaces.
Yes.
You said, "Can you help me? Can you help me do this show?" And and I said, "Sure." But what was my one condition, Brent? I said, I'm only going to do it if we can have fun doing it. And the reason the reason why I said that is because nobody wants to hear 2 advocates or 3 advocates or 4 advocates, how many advocates? Nobody wants to hear advocates come on a podcast and just bellyache and complain. Nobody wants to hear that, right?
No.
So you have to kind of mix. You have to kind of mix the sugar in with the vinegar.
Or I have some funny stuff in where I say, well, minister. I mean, you know, it's all about policies. You know, and I love policies where I don't have to be held accountable, minister. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's true though, right? I mean, you have to have that balance of holding them to account, but at the same time sprinkling in enough fun and enough irreverence where we're not taking ourselves too seriously, where people can say, okay, I'm gonna tune in because these guys aren't just always belly aching and always complaining. They're having fun while they're doing it, right? And I think that's important. But to get back, you know, to Charlie Kirk again. I mean, like I said, his thing was, let's not stop talking, and that was his big thing. And yes, you may not agree with everything that he stood for. I mean, I can point to one thing I know about him now that I've kind of read up about him in a little bit. Like I said, I knew of him, but I didn't know him by name. Just like Dan was saying on his video. But one of the things that I found out was that he, for the most of his life, Charlie Kirk was a supporter of Martin Luther King. Like he called Martin Luther King a hero and a cultural icon. And you know, I would agree with those statements. You know, that Martin Luther King is a hero and a cultural icon and all that. But then you know, Charlie Kirk's opinion of for whatever reason, Charlie Kirk's opinion of Martin Luther King soured in the last couple of years. I'm not really sure why that is. But but at the same time, it's interesting that you know, he also was a big we have to say he was a big Trump supporter. He helped Trump in the last election. Charlie Kirk was never directly involved in politics or in the Trump administration. Like he stayed separate from that. But one of the things that Trump, for example, is gone on public record as saying is that he credits Charlie Kirk with kind of bringing over the ethnic vote, bringing over the black vote, you know, which is interesting when you consider that from what I've read that you know, Charlie Kirk's opinion of Martin Luther King had changed in the last couple of years. So you can see how, you know, he was a man of, you know, maybe division. Like, you know, you can see, well, I don't agree with that. Also, we can say too that he was a supporter of the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Again, which is kind of ironic, right? I mean, you know, and there, I mean, on some level, I can agree with it. Yes, you have the right to defend yourself, but I disagree with the fact that, you know, anybody can walk into a gun store and walk out with a high-powered, you know, assault rifle, you know, like how is that a thing? I mean, yeah, sure, have a handgun, sure, if you want to protect yourself, but you know, I don't think everybody should be walking around with high-powered assault rifles. You know, well, that should not be a thing.
Standing in a rally, I mean, on top of a rooftop, and you know, and somebody, like, there's definitely something definitely wrong.
But again, it is ironic that Charlie Kirk agreed with the right to bear arms. You know, so that is kind of an irony there.
Yeah, and you know, the sad part is that Charlie Kirk left behind a family. He was 30 years old, a wife and 2 children. You know, and so my condolences go out to his family. I'm really sorry what happened. So, you know, standing here, you know, well, sitting here in Canada, and hearing that tragic news, what happened at the rally, and Mike, I say my condolences go out to Charlie Kirk,
Mm-hmm.
your family, and it's just so much violence that happens in society, and it doesn't have to be like violence doesn't have to be anywhere.
No.
And again, it's policies. It comes down to government policies that
Well,
allow.
yeah, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah,
but I was just going to say, well, let's transition to the actual show and
yeah,
talk about policies, because one of
yeah.
the things that I was going to say to just leave off on Charlie Kirk, one of his big beliefs, one of his huge big beliefs was that life matters, that
Absolutely.
all life, like I'm sitting here, I'm gonna say this as a Christian man, because I am a Christian man. I'm sitting here because God breathed life into me. God created me. He gave me life. Obviously God thinks I'm important. If he gave me life, God must think I'm important. And if God gave you life, he must think you're important. If God gave Sonjia life, he must think Sonja's important. Like, God breathes life into all of us, right? And that's one thing that Charlie Kirk was big on, is that let's respect life. Let's respect what life is. Let's respect what death is. And so let's kick off the show saying,
Yeah. And first of all, the mug. Yeah, the PWD Allies mug here. Yeah.
there's the mug, yeah, and
There's the mug.
and that's Trisha again. We have to say,
Yeah, and that's Trisha. Thank you very much, Trisha. I love the mug. This is one of my favorite mugs now. Yeah, definitely. It's a mug that. What's inside the mug?
did you put Bailey's in there now?
It's missing something. I don't know what is missing, but it's definitely a nice mug.
But I did want to say, like, now that we're transitioning to the actual show, is that this is something again that Charlie Kirk stood for, is the importance of what life means. I think there's a lot of government policy that does not respect life. It does not respect death, and we have 4 things we can go over quickly, and we've gone through them before, so we can kind of go through them a little bit rapid fire, honestly.
Yeah.
But one of the things we can start with is MAID. Medical assistance in dying.
Yeah.
MAID is responsible. Like, nowhere else in the world, there's more deaths attributed to MAID in Canada than anywhere else in the world. And isn't that something to not be proud of? The fact that there's more deaths attributed to MAID in Canada than anywhere else in the world. I mean, that to me is disgusting, because that, again, you're not respecting life when you say that we're just going to condone medically assisted suicide and say that's okay. Like God put you here, but we can take you out. And this idea that if I'm here, I have the right to end my life whenever I want. Well, no, in my opinion, no. I'm saying my opinion here now, but in my opinion, no, you don't, because I mean, God put me here. God has the authority to take me out. Nobody else does.
Well, when I hear people needing healthy food, they're pleading for healthy food, malnutrition. I hear it on the news all the time. News stations, doesn't matter what station I tune to online. I hear about more and more people lining up to go to food banks. Food insecurity. They're not getting all the proper nutritional food that they can get at a food bank. Wherever they go to the grocery store, they can't buy the most value for your dollar now. You're trying to stretch the dollar. You can't get enough value. So now you're having to pick and choose between what you have and have nots, what you want,
Yeah.
what you really need, but you
Yeah.
can't afford to get.
Yeah.
So now it puts more malnutrition into your diet, right?
Yeah.
So
And
I mean,
and that in itself is just not respecting life, right? Because
yeah,
you're
that's
saying
not
you
right.
don't deserve to be healthy.
Exactly. So now
Yeah.
you become healthy. Now you put more. Now
Yeah.
it puts more strain on our healthcare system.
Yeah.
And now the government say, oh well, you're not healthy. Like, say the individual, you're not healthy. Well,
Yeah.
they're saying, no, I want to be healthy. Oh,
Yeah.
but we're not going to
Like
give you.
like I said on the last podcast that we did, I said like the vast majority of people with disabilities, we want to be healthy. We invest in our health because, like I said, when you have a disability, you're behind the eight ball already. You're behind the eight ball already when you have a disability, right? When you're born with a disability.
That's what they say, aid before MAID. So you give people the aid.
Yeah, give them the aid. Give them the aid and say, you know what, we're going to respect your life. We're going to respect the life that you've been given.
Yep.
And we're going to support you with the life that you've been given and give you the best life possible. But
we're going to give you the tools to help you. But and then they say, oh well, actually maybe not. Policy says, oh well, well, we'll do it eventually, or baby steps, or there's more to do, and it's all these excuses. And when I hear the word "more to do," to me, it's like kicking the can down the road. It's like, no, don't want to deal with it now. Somebody else will deal with it. And it's disrespectful.
Yeah, I did want to quickly shout out. We debated whether to do this or not, but I did want to quickly shout out Mitchell Tremblay. There's some history with Mitchell Tremblay. Actually, we have to say he goes by the name of ODSPoor on Twitter. There's some history with him. There is that he was one of the people that were responsible for kind of ending your show on Twitter Spaces. Unfortunately, so there's a little bit of bitter feelings there. But I'm calling him out not to say that. I'm actually calling him out to kind of throw a bouquet, and I'm really happy because we have to say that Mitchell Tremblay for the longest time was a big proponent, a big advocate on being like he wanted to have the right to kill himself. He was a proponent of MAID. He says, I deserve to have the right to kill myself if I want to. And it's just interesting. I mean, it's great, but he's kind of done a 180 where you can see that he's really respecting the fact that he has life now, and that's what all people with disabilities should really be trumpeting more, is our right to life, not our right to death, not our right to death, but our right to life, And like I don't follow Mitchell Tremblay on Twitter. But I just even when you don't follow somebody on Twitter, you can still see some of their posts, and that's what's happening. I still see this post, and I have to say that you can tell that he's really turned a corner. He's respecting the fact that he has life now. He's respecting the fact that he was given life, and you can see that he's kind of turned the corner. He doesn't want to really talk about MAID as much now, and I think that's great, and we should acknowledge that he's kind of turned the corner, and so I congratulate him on that. I do. I think that's great. I think more people with disabilities, again, we have to be celebrating the fact that we have life, not the fact that we have right to kill ourselves.
Well, yeah, and I'll kind of piggyback off of that conversation on that. It's you're right. Like I can see his post too. I can't interact with him because he has me blocked on Twitter, X, and to me it's like silencing a person out, right? It was a disagreement that I said, well, I still remember what I said. I'll do everything I can as an advocate, as a self-advocate, or as an advocate for, within my community, and as other advocates across the country, I'll do everything I can to help you get the tools so that you can try to have a better way of life. And that's where you're right, Neil. Like he had said, well, I have a right to go with MAID, and I'm glad that he's done a 180 on that. Like where
super glad that he's done that.
Yeah, and one thing I've learned in life, of regrets, of looking of saying woulda, coulda, that old saying is woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn't do. You say, well, darn, maybe I shouldn't have said certain things, or I should have said certain things. I've come to a point in life where I value people in my life or interactions with. Sometimes in life, you just have to put things behind you, and in some cases, and make amends. You have to try to make amends on certain things, and you say, you know what, we have a lot in common. Let's work with that situation. When I've learned things too is like when I make a mistake, and I learned this from Mr. Horgan, and as the former premier of BC, he taught me a lot regarding this. And so this kind of piggybacks on what you just mentioned regarding Mr. Tremblay, is when you make a mistake, and this came from our former premier on a one-to-one basis. He goes, Brent, when you make a mistake, you say, look, I'm sorry. I'll do the best I can. I shouldn't have done that, or I'll do the best I can to be better, and to listen and to work with that person the best way you can. Sometimes you can't work with that person, right?
And you know what, Brent? Just because you mentioned John Horgan, it kind of triggered me to go back a little bit in our conversation, because I did want to actually throw a bouquet now. Talking about throwing bouquets to Mitchell Tremblay, I also wanted to throw a bouquet to David Eby, actually, because he actually did speak out about the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and I thought he actually did a really good job of speaking out about it. So when somebody does a good thing, everybody can say I'm hard on David Eby, and then maybe that's true, but I've always said, if David Eby does a great thing, I'm going to call him out on that too, and I'm going to congratulate him on that too, and so I did want to acknowledge that he did call it out, and he did speak well about that. So I wanted to acknowledge that. I also wanted to acknowledge that there was a bunch of stupidity on Twitter about the assassination as well. You had a woman by the name of Devon Cassidy. She's a social worker who works for Legal Aid BC. Social worker that works for Legal Aid BC, and she posted a TikTok video that was cheering the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Literally cheering the death and assassination of Charlie Kirk, and that is disgusting. And it wasn't just her. There was a lot. We have to say there was a lot of videos of people that were and that's disgusting. That is disgusting. That is disgusting.
She worked for Legal Aid BC.
She worked for Legal Aid BC. Yeah.
Well, so, if I was an employer, she would have been fired instantly.
So that's taxpayer funded organization, and we have to say as well, the very next day, Legal Aid came out with a statement saying, that this Devon Cassidy has now been fired. She's no longer an employee.
Oh, good.
So again, that's good. Congratulations. I'm glad to see that. So again, I wanted to we kind of circle back a little bit. I'm sorry about that, but I just wanted to acknowledge. That David Eby did a good thing by acknowledging the unfortunate death of Charlie Kirk, because again, nobody deserves to die for an opinion.
Exactly.
And nobody's death and assassination should be cheered on a TikTok video. That's just disgusting. Really disgusting.
Yeah. Everybody's life is a value, and it should never be cheerleaded for saying, well, congratulations, you were assassinated. Yeah, let's bring it on. Bring on more.
Yeah,
it's like
super
disgusting.
super disgusting. I couldn't. And it wasn't. She was one example. So, somebody from BC that posted it. But there was actually a lot of videos that were doing that. It was just are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and so getting back to Mitchell Tremblay, there was a lot of great advocacy within his work, and there still is, and actually even a lot, going forward, I value his advocacy in so
Well,
many ways.
especially now that he seems to value his life now.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that makes a big difference. I think when you actually value your own life, I think you
Mhm.
can actually be a better advocate. you know.
Oh, for sure, right?
So
I,
yeah.
working like working together of advocates working together. I mean, we can always. There's a lot of us. I mean, we can disagree to agree on certain
Hmm.
things, and that's one thing I was taught over time, even by one of our former ministers in BC. Shane Simpson. He was the minister of MSDPR, Ministry of Social Development and
Yeah.
Poverty Reduction. Um, he even taught me too that sometimes in life you can agree to disagree on certain policies, certain things, and it teaches the government to do better, and holding them to account. And I remember him always saying, "Well, Brent, I mean, I've got thick skin." I said, "Yeah, but you're still a person, though, Shane. You're still who you are. You may
Yeah.
have thick skin. You may tell me that, but your personal feelings will get hurt if somebody keeps lunging at you
Yeah.
and cursing you down." I said, yeah, like, I mean, if somebody did that to me too, I could say, yeah, and put on a smile face. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother me. Yeah, of course
Yeah.
it does, right?
Yeah. Of course.
And the same thing with Shane. I mean, we taught him a lot about advocacy, about lived experience. I mean, and really it came down to, and he found that out, and he thanked us in a town hall meeting many times. And I echo that across different ministers who I've come across on the political spectrum through advocacy. Even the Conservative Party in BC sat down with them. I mean, they listened to our advocacy, our points of view. The Green Party, same thing. The NDP. There is no BC Liberal Party right now. There's some, who knows what's going to happen with them. I mean,
There's some whisperings of like a resurrection of the party.
Yeah, and there's some other new parties coming forward. I'm basically, my point would be to them before we continue on the show is, I want you to listen to lived experience. Doesn't matter which political party it is. Listen to lived experience of individuals, either self-advocates, organizations, who bring those voices of people with disabilities onto your table, not just people on your own committee.
And again, shout out to Dan Davies. We've been trying to get him on. I don't know, but
Dan,
hopefully we can get him on because he was honestly a great advocate. He was with the BC Liberal Party, but he was one of the really good advocates out there.
Real good man.
Yeah, and so we just have to again acknowledge. And I feel like I'm throwing a bunch of bouquets today, but it's true. It's true that Dan is another.
Yeah,
Dan is another great advocate, and so we just want to acknowledge that.
And a bouquet to all the self advocates and all the advocacy groups who are really putting a lot of pressure on the provincial and federal governments. I mean, bouquets to all of you and all of our listeners and viewers. Bouquets to all of you today. Because why not? It's Friday.
You get a bouquet, and you get a bouquet, and you get a bouquet.
It's like a pink unicorn, but you can't have unicorns.
As a transition to the MAID, I think the next topic we can talk about, and actually. We're going to be talking about this more on another future show. I don't want to reveal the guest quite yet because it's a little bit of a surprise. But we will get into this again later in a couple of shows from now. But
I'm looking forward to that.
But anyway, the next topic we wanted to talk about was Charleigh Pollock, the 10-year-old girl with Batten's disease. Again, this idea that you have government policy which does not respect life and death, and but what by that we mean that originally the provincial government here was denying. We can't say life-saving. We can't say life-saving medication, but we can say life-preserving medication because the truth of it is that this 10-year-old girl will at some point she will die because she has this. Disease that's Batten's disease is not curable, so she will eventually die. But for right now, the medication she's on is preserving or prolonging her life. And we have to say, I see postings from her mom all the time, and I mean, really happy girl, enjoying life, and so the idea that the government, I mean, now they've reversed their decision, which is great. I'm glad they did. but they literally needed to be embarrassed on the international stage, not just on the BC stage, but literally on the international stage. They had to be embarrassed on the international stage before they reversed the decision, right? Mm-hmm. So this idea that, you know, a disabled girl's life really isn't that important. We don't really need to give her life-saving medication, you know. And then you would also see a few comments online is like, well, you know, this girl doesn't have a good quality of life anyway, so just let her die, you know. And I mean, that wasn't that common. That comment wasn't that common, but it was more than one person was saying it, though. There's like maybe a handful of people were saying it. Is like, just let her die, just let her die. Her quality of life must suck anyway. And I mean, we have to walk back from that and say that disabled lives are important. Disabled lives are worth preserving. Everybody's life matters. I mean, and you know, Jory, I want to just put a hand up to you. You're welcome. Come on to the show anytime you want. Just as an invitation to you. I want to mention something very special to you, Jory, that on behalf of for your daughter, Sonjia and myself, we had a really bad cold in the summer. But you know what we did for your daughter? It really touched me very dearly. We went down, actually met with Elena Lawson, and downtown Victoria, jumped on a bus, went down, and I said, we have to do this. Sonjia says, we have to go down. I said, oh, absolutely. We went down, and fresh sliced pizza. We went down and we got which one? Oh, local pizza. I call it fresh sliced, but it's local pizza. Took over the actual establishment. Yeah, a brain fart right there. Because it was always fresh sliced, right? I mean, so now it's local pizza. But we went down, and all the money that was brought into a local pizza went to help Charlie. And I thought, wow, like it was amazing. And so for me, as a person in the community, as a citizen in the community, I felt that I needed to do that as my contribution to help your daughter, because back then that was when the government said, well, they weren't going to be funding to help your daughter to maintain her quality of life. And again, the government should have done the right thing at that time. They really should have right away. But the public pressure to make that happen, to push the government to do the right thing. And it's the same thing as all these unions that are on strike right now in BC. There's just one thing after another, a whole domino effect. The BCGEU. I want you to stand on your picket lines. I want you to put pressure on the government. Maybe anyone from the unions, put pressure on the government and saying, so you're not respecting us as union members. How about respecting PWD, persons with disabilities? Put that into part of your mandate and saying, hey, we're going to settle our agreement only if you actually raise PWD rates. Because I might just and let's go to the third topic now. Then I mean that's actually a good jumping off point. Yeah, we've covered now. We covered MAID and we've covered Charleigh Pollock. And so now let's talk about the have and have-nots, the PWD versus PWD, or the disabled versus disabled. I mean, there's so much of that. Again, provincial policy where it's like, pitting disabled against disabled, and 25% of you deserve subsidized housing. 25% of us deserve subsidized housing. The 75% of you, we don't really care about the 75%. It's like we'll throw you to the wolves. Who cares about the 75%? We only have to worry about 25% of you. Yeah. And not with that. That being said, it's like 75% of PWD in BC pay high market rent. And the government said, well, that's a choice that you make. But you can have subsidized housing, but you need to now be homeless in order to qualify for BC housing. They're old, archaic policies. I was just reading up about it. Sonjia was reading something just yesterday about it. She couldn't.
I used to be in BC housing, but I can reapply for it.
Oh, Sonjia was in BC housing once upon a time, a long time ago. but apparently she can reapply. Anybody can reapply,
Yeah.
but you have to. But here's the catch, everyone: you gotta apply from scratch.
Yeah.
So you're not
So you have to go all the way down to the bottom of the list, which is
Yeah.
20-year waiting list. 20-year
Yeah,
waiting
yeah.
list now.
Yeah, 20-year waiting list.
Yeah.
And I mean, all people want is to have cheaper housing, but you have to go through BC Housing in order to do that.
Well,
senior.
They have these archaic policies. I mean, let's just say this, Brent, is that they have this archaic policies that they created. They created it. The government's created it, but they blame us for it. They basically gaslight everybody on PWD. They gaslight us and say, well, our archaic policies are your fault.
Yeah.
Our archaic policies are your fault. It's your fault, Brent and Sonjia, that you cannot find rent for $500 a month. It's your fault. It's not our fault. It's your fault that you cannot find rent for $500 a month. It's not our fault. We're providing subsidized housing for 25% of you. So that's good enough, right, Brent? That's good enough, right?
Well, exactly. I remember a phone call. Like we had moved from Nanaimo out to Langley. That's where whole ripple effect started. But we had moved, and the rent was actually much higher than what we were paying. Much higher. Okay. And question was right away from the government. Well, you're going to put yourself into harm's way. You're going to create a crisis for yourself. You're going to want to pay more high market rent.
Again, blaming you for their own bad policy. Blaming you for their own bad policy. Yeah.
And so I actually stood my ground. I always remember my mom always telling me, stand up for what you believe in. Don't let somebody belittle you and talk down to you. And you know what I said, and I'll say it very vocally here. And I got the person actually fired. I found out that the person was dismissed. They were disciplined. They didn't listen. They did it again to somebody else. Yeah. So it actually end game was the person who actually lost their job about being disrespectful. They told me on the phone to not be so disrespectful. You know, I told the person, I said, I will not allow you to talk down to me. I said, I had a mother. I don't need another mother. I don't need someone to talk down to me. It's my decision on autonomy wise. And the word autonomy back then, I didn't use the word autonomy. I said, I can make a decision that's best for me. And Sonjia can make a decision that's best for her. Yeah. We're actually going to be moving. I said, well, you are. I said, we are going to be moving. So I said, this is what we're going to be doing. Well, I know a place in Nanaimo that you could go rent for $850. I said, oh, yeah, I know that area. Yeah, there's...
why doesn't that person rent it out then? If
And you know what I said? I said, I just heard on the news somebody just got shot and there was a drug deal going on. Yeah. Cops were surrounding the home. It's all boarded up. Yeah. I said, it's safe for me and there's no public transit. So that's a really safe neighborhood for me to go into.
Well, that's the other thing too that we have to say, Brent, too, is that there are some housing in BC Housing which is good. Yeah, there actually are some housing that's good and safe and clean. But there's not very much of it, right? Most of it is rat infested or bed bug infested or housing that doesn't have fire alarms, doesn't have proper cooling. So like people pass away in hot boxes. People pass away because the fire alarms weren't there. Or not fire alarms. Sorry, the smoke detectors. I should say smoke detectors. They didn't have. There's some buildings that don't have the smoke detectors.
Or sprinklers. Don't have sprinklers.
They don't have sprinklers. True that. That's true. Yeah.
Well, we don't have sprinklers in our building. No.
Crazy, right? It's just crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I know because there's a place in Langley we were in, and we had 10. We had 10 sprinklers. 10 in our unit.
In your unit,
building. Throughout the whole building. I could not believe it. I was like, first thing
I got about 10 in mine, actually.
Yeah, and I looked around, I'm like, what the heck is all this? And I found out they were all sprinklers throughout the whole building. And because it was a building code that needed to be updated, and this one here, they haven't updated it. It's scary. The fire department, they have a third-party company that comes by and they test the fire alarm. And the guy was here like 2 minutes in the building. 2 minutes, one ding, and then he went. I thought, wow, that's it, right? I guess, but getting back to about BC housing, seniors get to have the privilege of having BC housing, but they don't have to be in a BC housing facility. They can stay in their own home.
Yeah, they get the subsidy, right? They get the subsidy.
They apply for SAFERS, and it's a seniors program under an umbrella under BC housing. I know because my mom, like I had talked to her on previous shows about it, she got to live in her own home. She didn't have to move. She got to have it. I didn't get to have it because I'm PWD, because I get shelter portion, so I don't qualify for it, right? Yeah. I want to see that word shelter. I just get rid of that word shelter, because you get one check, everybody.
Well,
one check.
Yeah, and this is where I tease about the word elite. That there's the elite 25%. There's the elite 25% of the PWD that gets the subsidized housing, right? Yeah. So there's 25% of us that are the elite disabled. They get it, where you can say, if we go back to the theme of the show about respecting life and death, so you get 25% of the PWD have their lives that are respected more. Their lives are respected more with a subsidy, we have to say, right? And it's like, well, the other 75%, well, they can just kick rocks. And it's like, we as government,
they can eat cake.
Yeah, they can eat cake and kick rocks, and we as government, we as provincial government, we don't have to acknowledge or worry about the 75% that are struggling more because they don't have the subsidized rent, right?
And the way
you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, the way I look at it is, you give people the resources, you give them the tools, you give them the income, where now they're not paying it all to their corporate landlord. They're now able to have subsidized rent where they live for PWD. Like seniors get it too. We have seniors in my building too. I mean, government. There's seniors in my building. They get SAFERS, right? And the question that I get into conversations with as an advocate, and they say, well, why don't you get it as a PWD? I go, that is a good question. I advocate all the time. They're like, it's not hard.
We should get it.
They said it should be easily changed. And so what I want to see that all PWD get the same as what seniors get. The same treatment right across the board. Get rid of that word shelter. And I know that Shane Simpson, when he was the minister, he wanted to get rid of the shelter portion.
Yeah.
And the bus pass, that's another thing. But the $45 a year bus pass, Sonjia said,
that's another podcast.
That's another podcast in itself. But the fact is that it's called equality. It's called respecting the person for who they are. Let that person decide what housing they want, but give them the 30% of their income. So rent geared to income. Yeah. And this is not new, folks. I mean, this is actually from the CMHC. CMHC even says nobody should be paying more than 30% of their income on rent. Right. Now, the problem is that the government's policies are allowing PWD in each province, or have that designation in each province, or maybe equivalent. Some provinces don't have PWD designation. I don't know why they don't, but they should. So I'm going to be advocating. We'll be pushing more on the show on that one, on another podcast. But the one is that provinces that do have PWD designation, every PWD should have no more than 30% of their income paid to rent, market rent. So rent geared to income. And have it if it's under BC housing umbrella, it's under their umbrella, but it needs to be based on the individual. Again, 100%. Individual, not household, right? Because we know about the CDB. The CDB, the federal government fucked up the CDB. They royally. I mean, a 1-year-old could have done a better job of designing that.
Honestly, you're right.
Honestly,
kindergarten class could have done a better job.
1 + 1 is how much? I got one potato. What is that? 2. Very good, Mr. Good. Very good, Mr. Potato Head. Oh. Yeah.
Let's quickly go through the next couple.
And I'm
we have one of the topics I wanted to get to is safe supply. This idea of safe supply as compassionate care. I hate that where you have harm reduction of safe supply is considered compassionate care. I mean, that's BS. When you're giving drugs and you're saying that's compassionate care, you're not respecting life. You're saying, we're going to keep that person addicted, so their life is going to be continually terrible. We're going to keep them addicted, keep them in a terrible state, not really help them, because it's not about getting them the help. It's about just keeping them addicted by giving them the safe supply, right?
Yeah, status quo.
Status quo, and so again, that is not respecting life. And I mean, I can just leave it at that, and we can go on to that next one almost. I don't really have to say any more than that.
I think people can kind of read into that situation where rather than giving them the tools, helping them. I mean, there are people that can definitely be helped, and I mean, for me, I think, like, again, the value of life for anybody, and I know that unfortunately there are some people that can't be helped. Brain injury. They've and there's nothing against anybody who has brain injury. I just want to make sure everybody understands this, is that they can be helped to be rehabilitated back into society. There are people who may have brain injury. They still need to be helped. Still need to be helped. Maybe in a different ways. I don't have the tools. I don't know what the best solution would be. But to leave them on a street, don't keep people in a broken state. In a broken state. Yeah, that you've just. I mean, and yes, it was proven that it was designed that way.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that government decided that it's okay to keep people in legislative poverty. It's okay to let them stay on the street. I mean, no, it's not. It's not okay in society. I mean, we got immigration at very high levels that I've never in life seen it come to this level. I mean, is that how we show immigration when they come to our country? Welcome to Canada, but you get to live in a tent. You get to live on the street because we don't have enough housing for you, because federal government said, oh, we don't need to build housing.
Yeah.
Or hell, there's an article I was just reading the other day. There's a lot of condominiums that are built right now. They're sitting empty. And you know why they're sitting empty, everybody? They're built so tiny, and they weren't meant they actually were not meant for renting. They were meant for investment.
Yeah.
Now the government's going, uh-oh. Now what do we do with all these skyscrapers?
Yeah.
Gee. Yeah. I mean, but hey.
Let's go to the last. I know we're kind of quickly going through the last couple, but let's hit the last topic here, and it's my favorite. And I saved my favorite for last. The PWD clawbacks. And again, I don't have to spend too much time on this because I talk about it a lot, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But I did want to say it goes back again to our theme of, that government policy needs to respect life, and it needs to respect death. If you don't respect death, you're not respecting life, and if you don't respect life, you're not respecting death. You know what I mean? They're connected, right? So this idea that if you're on PWD, like I am, and I had my first wife pass away, this idea that my wife worked hard. She was a school teacher for 17 years for the Langley School District. She worked hard. She paid into her pension for 17 years. Her employer paid into her pension for 17 years as a worker benefit. The only way you can qualify for a pension is as a working benefit. So it is an earned working benefit. We have to say it's an earned working benefit. The idea that the government the provincial government here in BC just turns around and says, well, that earned working benefit, we're just going to pink unicorn it. It's not respecting debt. I mean, again, let's go back to the beginning of Sonja's like any death. I don't care who it is. Death is significant. Death is important. Death is a huge hole. Death is a huge thing to get over. It's a financial burden too. I mean, when my wife passed away, she left a huge financial hole because all of a sudden we had one less income coming in. She's gone, and that's, you know, that's terrible enough, but also her income is gone too. So that's the whole point of what a pension is. Let's talk about what a pension is, Brent. You know, we talk about GIS, right? We talk about GIS. What's a GIS, Brent? Tell everybody what a GIS is.
GIS is a guaranteed income supplement, and that's for seniors. Seniors also get the OAS, which is it's a supplement. Ontario, was it OAS? Yes, I think it's Ontario supplement. It's anyways the seniors supplements that you get. I mean, people probably say, well, no, he doesn't know the terminology of that one. No, I mean.
But, okay, I'm going to stop you there, though. What's the key word? What's the key word in the GIS? What is the key word? The key word is guaranteed, right?
Guaranteed.
What does guarantee mean, Brent? What does guarantee mean?
It means absolutely you are going to get. You are going to get. It's 100%. It's yours. It's yours to keep.
Is it? I feel like we're in court right now, and I want to invite David Eby, because David Eby's a lawyer. So I want to invite David Eby in our court right now. I want to invite him in our court right now, and we're going to talk about this whole idea of guarantee. We just talked about GIS is a guarantee, right? And if it's a guarantee, it's what? It's protected.
Yeah, it's like PWD in BC. We had a guaranteed disability income. It was a pension. It was guaranteed.
A pension. Yeah, if it's a pension, it's guaranteed, right? That's what I was getting to. If you have a pension, if you have pension monies, it's guaranteed. It's a GIS. It's guaranteed income.
Yeah.
That's how
PWD's income is supposed to be.
And for the last 30 years. And we can all thank who can we thank, Brent? Who can we thank? Mike Harcourt. Mike Harcourt.
You turned a pension into a pink unicorn. You made it so that a pension was there, and it was supposed to be guaranteed. You turned it around, and you made it a pink unicorn. And why do I know that? My family physician and other physicians who I had to go through a lengthy process, which most PWD do, to be designated. My disability didn't go away. I get more disabilities as I get older, as we all do. But you know what? I remember my family doctor even said, Brent, disabilities don't go away. And he thought that the pension was there. So I'm now approving you for disability pension. Yeah. And he thought it was a pension.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, it was a pension. It was a pension prior to 1993, 94. And Mike Harcourt is the one that perverted everything and turned everything into a pink unicorn.
Because he doesn't like disabled people.
He didn't like disabled people.
You know, and status quo goes forward. So when status quo goes forward, it tells me that whoever's in power tells the ministers, mandate letters of, we want you to accomplish this.
And you know what happened? You know what happened, Brent? We always talk about this. Is as soon as Mike Harcourt did that thing, everybody else just copy and pasted.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, Mike Harcourt, we love this idea. Let's copy and paste this bad idea of turning a pension. What is a pension again, Brent? It's a guaranteed income support supplement. Guaranteed. It's a guarantee. A pension is a guarantee.
And that's what Ontario did, though. Ontario did the same thing. They had Mike Harris at the same time as Harcourt did in BC.
And let's remind people that don't know as well. Mike Harcourt was another lawyer. Mike Harcourt was another lawyer.
So he knew how to gauge the system.
Yeah, and you know what? I've said this before, and I mean it when I say it. I said before, when I was a kid, when I was like 12 years old, I loved Perry Mason as a kid. The show Perry Mason. Like, I mean, it's all about idealism, or the good guy always wins. You know, the good lawyer always wins. But I love that because it was all about righteousness. The truth matters, righteousness matters, justice matters, and the good guy lawyer always wins, right? So So I grew up with that idea of like, wow, lawyers are amazing. They fight for truth. They fight for righteousness. They fight for justice. That's great. I'm not even joking, Brent. Like Perry Mason to me as a kid, when I was 12, I mean, I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
If this is what a lawyer is,
how about Judge Judy? How about Judge Judy?
Oh yeah, well that too.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid watching Perry Mason and go, if this is what a lawyer is, fighting for truth, fighting for justice, fighting for righteousness, I said, wow, I want that, right? And but here you have a lawyer in Mike Harcourt that basically said, you know what? I don't care about the truth of a pension. I don't care that a pension is supposed to be a guaranteed income supplement. I don't care that a pension is guaranteed.
Yep.
I don't care. I don't care about truth, Brent. I don't care about truth, Neil. I'm gonna pervert it. I'm gonna turn it into a pink unicorn.
Yeah, and then he comes on the news hour and he spurts out that famous line that just sits and resonates.
Everybody on welfare is a cheat varmint. Everybody on welfare is a cheat, varmint, and deadbeat. Those are the words that came out of his mouth.
Yeah, and my mom says, "Turn this filth off." I said, "What did he just say?" She goes, "Oh, you don't need to hear that, Brent. This is terrible." She literally turned it off. She says, "Oh, she got a shoe. She got her shoe and she threw it at the TV screen. She was so pissed off."
Yeah.
And my mom was pissed off. I didn't even know what she was talking about, but I heard your words. I heard your words back then.
Well, once you say something like I said before, like out of the mouth, the heart speaks.
She got her shoe and she threw it at the TV screen. Mom, what are you doing?
Yeah.
She said, that filth. She said, I can't believe it came out of that man's mouth.
Yeah.
She said, where's that bar of soap? She said, Brent, if you ever say anything like that, I will make you eat a bar of soap.
Yeah, but again, out of the mouth, the heart speaks, right? Yeah. So I mean, he obviously meant it. What he said, he obviously meant it, right? He can't say, no, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it, Neil. I didn't mean it, Brent. Yes, you did mean it, because if you didn't mean it, you wouldn't have said it.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have said it, right? Like that's the truth. That's the truth, right? And so
the policies, though, with like Ontario Premier at the same time, the policies that the politicians came out with then were so hurtful, and it still has not been fixed going forward. I mean,
well, because everybody just copy and paste. It's like, this is a great idea, the pink unicorn pensions. It's a great idea. Let's copy and paste it.
We don't have to do anything. We'll just copy paste. We'll throw a couple breadcrumbs here and there every couple of years. And look what we're doing. And Ontario did the same thing. Joseph had talked about this before, but I can't believe it. 8 years. 8 years in Ontario, nothing for OW, ODSP. Yeah, they've tied it to the cost of living adjustment every year. Now it's going up. No rate increase, though. Shame, Doug Ford. Come on, man. The cost of living. People's lives they are worth a lot more than just tying it to inflation. I mean, give your head a shake, man. Seriously. On a personal level, not on a political, just on a personal level, do unto others as you want done unto you. You may be running the province, okay, but these are human beings. We're all human beings. Do we have, not have value? People need to have the basic standards. And this goes with every freaking premier in Canada. We have values, standard, basic needs. You need to basically have that standard and build from that point on. You have a disability, you have other expenses that are above that.
Exactly.
And we should not be below a certain standard. Is that how we take care of our own citizens, of saying, well, you're on disability, you're on OW, you're on BC welfare or income assistance, however the terminology governments want to call it, pink unicorn language, I call it. Show people with dignity and respect, and give them the autonomy to make decisions that are based on their own needs. Stop playing, politicians, stop playing the blame game of saying, well, when you were in government, you did this. Well, you're in government, what have you done? You know what I mean? Work together, listen to people's lived experience, let them be on the table and make decisions based on what our needs are. Because I can tell you something in BC, I heard through the grapevine, and BC, you better not be doing this. BC government, do not do this. NDP, okay? Your standing committee who basically have voices at the table have now, the walls have ears. I wish I could be a fly on the wall, but I heard something for 2026 budget that there's going to be no increase to PWD benefits or income assistance. Now that better not be true. Okay. I mean, prove me wrong that, sorry, that was misinformation that was put out there by one of your staffers who said, oh, no, we are going to increase the rates because you haven't increased the rates in 4 years since 2021. Okay, that's for support. And for shelter, it hasn't been increased in 2 years. I got a rate increase for my corporate landlord in 2 years. Okay, I asked the premier about this. It's 11.10.
We're so close, Brent. We're so close.
No, I'm gonna watch this while I'm not.
Well, you know what, Brent? You gave your. It sounded like a closing comment for you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give my closing comment, and it's gonna turn 11:11 right when I give my closing comment. But my closing comment is going back to the PWD clawback. And again, I'm going to invite David Eby into our courtroom. Because we all know that David Eby was a lawyer in his past life. So let's invite. There it is, 11:11.
11:11.
So let's invite David Eby into our little courtroom here.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I have a hard time respecting David Eby, I'll just say it. The reason why I give him a hard time is because he is a lawyer. It's exactly because he is a lawyer, and exactly because when I was 12 years old, I grew up idolizing show like Perry Mason, going, "Wow, lawyers are great! Isn't this great? If lawyers can be like this, that are fighting for truth, that are fighting for justice, that are fighting for righteousness." And the thing is, getting back to Eby, David Eby, before he was premier, he was what? He was the Attorney General for 5 years, right? He was the Attorney General for 5 years. So he was
Minister too.
He was that too. But I just wanted to say that while he was Attorney General for 5 years, guess who was writing him emails about clawbacks, Brent? Guess who was writing him emails about clawbacks? Me.
You.
Guess how many emails I sent directly to David Eby's office?
Many. I
sent 36, probably 36 emails directly to David Eby as the Attorney General, and
I'll just get back.
And I got 0 back, Brent. After 36 emails,
God.
36 emails, it was crickets. 0 response back. After 36 emails, 0.
That's disrespectful.
And what my one question was? You know what my one question was? I said, David Eby, as Attorney General, I said, because you're Attorney General and you're a lawyer who is supposed to acknowledge the truth, that's your job as Attorney General and as a lawyer, you're supposed to acknowledge the truth. I said that I posed a question to him. I said, as a lawyer, you're supposed to acknowledge the truth, and as Attorney General, you're supposed to acknowledge the truth. So I said, David Eby, as Attorney General, can you please acknowledge the truth of what a pension is? Can you please acknowledge the truth of what a pension is?
Straightforward,
As a guaranteed income supplement, because
for sure.
We all know that's what a pension is. It's a guaranteed income supplement. So I said, can you please acknowledge a pension as a guaranteed income supplement? I didn't hear one peep from him. Nothing. Not one response back. So
I'm so sorry, Neil, that David didn't respond back to.
So that is the source. That is my source of my dislike, and my frustration about David Eby and about people, like Mike Harcourt. Is like I said, I love lawyers because I grew up idolizing and loving Perry Mason as a kid, because I thought, well, all lawyers are going to respect truth. They're all going to respect righteousness. They're all going to respect justice. But I mean, how is clawing back a pension from a widow and widower? How is that justice, Brent? How is that righteousness when you're clawing back crucial income?
No sense.
It makes 0 sense, right?
It makes total 0 sense.
You're going to punish death. You're going to punish death and say, if a spouse dies, you're going to punish that person and say, well, that's too bad. You deserve punishment now. That's too bad. Because you know what? As a government, we don't respect life. We don't respect death. We don't respect life and we don't respect death. So that goes right back to the beginning of the show, where governments do not respect life. They do not respect death.
Exactly. And that reminds me of a clawback of anyone, and this is kind of for anyone to really look at. If you're a senior, lived experience, and with living with my mom way back when, God rest her soul. But the government put her through, and I'll pardon my language. I don't normally swear on the show here, but you put my mom through fucking hell, government. Way back when my mom was a member for the Otter Co-op. My mom did shopping, and you know what the reward that she got? She got a dividend reward for being a member. And so when people get a reward, guess what they do? They put that money back into the store, right? You can only use a check. You get a dividend check if you spend X amount of dollars throughout the year. My mom had a hobby farm. So, I mean, she had ducks and chickens and bunny rabbits. She had birds. She had not a parrot. She had cockatiel. She had cats and dogs. She had 12 cats. At one time, she had 14 cats. Ooh,
oh, wow.
Ooh. Anyway, yeah, it was too many. Of course, my allergies were just flaring up. I mean, you can imagine. But, I mean, she loved, but you know what? They were her family. She had 2 dogs. It was her family. So she got a lot of pets food from the Otter Co-op too. But my mom worked hard. She wasn't on income assistance. She wasn't on disability assistance. My mom was out there working. She worked her butt to the ground until she couldn't do any more. She got other disabilities that weren't diagnosed. The doctor, did come across different things. My mom didn't go into disability because she was now getting close to old age. Guaranteed income supplement for what seniors get. If she had got those disabilities earlier, she would have been on disability assistance. And she would have then, with how I was on disability at the time. And so she got to have her senior supplement from home. But what the government did was they clawed off that check. Basically a check from the community store that she had to, it's not like where she could use it any other store. She had to use it back into that store. So it's her putting that money back in. She got the money from her guaranteed income supplement. The government said, "Oh, that's unearned income." They classified it as. She said, "No, I earned it. I used that money from my pension that you gave me, and I shopped. I got it, and so now I'm going to put that money back in." They said, "No, it's unearned, and we have to take that off." And they took off.
Stupid.
They took off more, and get this. They took off more than what her whole check was in a month.
Well,
it put her in a
bad. Again, when my first wife passed away, you know what my whole check, my whole provincial check for about 2 years, it was almost exactly 2 years. My check for provincial assistance went down to, guess how much, Brent? It went down to less than $400 a month. It went down, and this is with my son. My son, I have a son. So here's a single dad now with a son, and my provincial assistance went down to $400 a month. $400 a month. A widower, a disabled widower at that, with a son, and my provincial assistance went down to less than $400 a month. And the provincial government says that's great. That's great. $400 is a lot, Neil. $400 is a lot. $400 is a lot, Neil.
Yeah, but you know what?
You had your wife die, and you got all this money now from her. Like you should be thankful that she died because she left you all this money. It's just like so perverse, so perverse.
But you know what happened to me on that situation too, why I'm so livid is, so my mom had all that money taken off, so she can't recoup that money. So now she says, "Well, Brent, maybe can you get more hours where you're working?" Well, I wasn't even on disability at the time. I wasn't even diagnosed. I had disabilities, but I refused to go and to the government to get diagnosed, to go to my doctor, to be on provincial disability. I had a lot of issues, problems with my disabilities that were interfering with a lot of aspects of work that I was doing. I was just trying to mentally just tune out and say, no, just ignore it. And I'm thinking, what, they fire you, Brent, they fire you. You know, it got to a point where, like there was some dicey moments where one of my jobs I was at, they did get rid of me because I was not able to actually do the job. I actually almost, like, not purposely got myself fired, but I said, well, I mean, I'm just me. My disabilities, I can't just magically make them disappear. And you know what I was told, Neil, and everybody? Well, maybe you can go and get an operation to try to correct the problem. Maybe go see a better doctor that can actually go and fix your disabilities. Yeah. And you know what I did? I actually walked off the job. I actually said to the employer, I said, F you. I said, I'm out of here. If you can't respect me for who I am, just for who I am, then I said, you're not respecting you as an employer. And my mom taught me that do unto others as you want done unto you. And I actually said that. I was brave enough. And, they told me, they said, leave now. Get out the door, go out the door. And so I didn't even collect my check. I said, keep it. I said, keep my check. I don't want it. I don't want your money. And so my point was that I worked hard because my mom's money got clawed off. So I work harder. And guess what? My mom got punished even more. Yeah. And I got punished more because my mom's household income went higher. Mm-hmm. And it got to a point where one of us had to move out because the policy under BC Housing stated that your income can't be higher for your mother. Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh. So my brother and I looked at each other like, what the hell? Like, policy. So either he moves or I move. And the government said, we're serious. Like, that's a policy. I said, well, then change the goddamn policy. I said, I don't know if the system works.
And that's clawbacks in general, right? But I mean, if we go back to the theme of the show, it was how government policy basically the government policy does not respect life and death. So
life and death, and
let's end on that. This idea that government policy does not respect life and death, but it should. If government policy is working properly, they definitely need to respect life and death. They need to respect life and death. But they don't all the time. We just gave a bunch of examples on today's show of how they don't respect it. But I'm telling government directly, like, let's start respecting life and death in the policies that you create, government. It's so important. So important.
And it's not hard to not do. Like, you have to have the can-do attitude of changing your policies, modernize them. Let's modernize it. And I'm gonna leave off on a funny note here. The supercomputer that was promised by the BC government, Minister of Social Development and Poverty Reduction in 2023.
Hi, Sheila.
2023. Hi, Sheila. Where's the computer? Early 2023. You told Jeff, Sonjia, and myself they were coming with a supercomputer.
We love you, Sheila. We love you, Sheila.
It's 2024. Come on, Sheila.
We're just teasing you, Sheila. But where's the computer? Where's the computer?
Probably in the computer shop getting worked on already. Defragged. How many bits are in a byte, everyone? Yeah. How many bits are in a byte?
And again, to end off, I think Sheila Malcolmson herself knows, as Minister of Social Development, I think she knows that a pension is a guaranteed income supplement. So, and she knows what the word guarantee means, right? She knows what the word guarantee means. And if she knows what the word guarantee means, and if David Eby as a lawyer knows what the word guarantee means, if he's gonna fight that in court and somebody asks him, what is a guaranteed income supplement, David Eby? He's going to be forced to say that a guaranteed income supplement is what? Guaranteed, right?
It's guaranteed a pension.
If it's a guaranteed pension, it means it has to be paid. It has to be respected. It has to be paid out. It can't be turned into a pink unicorn.
Like the one behind me.
It can't be turned into a pink unicorn.
Can't get a bunch of those. I mean, because they're not. But I mean, when I say guaranteed, it's a guaranteed that we have the show today. Guaranteed that there's going to be a show on Monday. Guaranteed. That PWD Allies podcast will bring on lived experience stories so that everybody can tune in. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I really hope you enjoyed today's show. we dogpiled into a lot of examples of policy.
And we went about an hour and a half, Brent. Not bad.
We didn't get to the 2 hour mark. Sonjia said, "You're gonna get 2 hours. You're gonna make it 2 hours."
We won't do that. We won't do that.
No, we did good. But I want to thank everyone for tuning in. As usual, I mean, please like, subscribe, share the content. If you want to buy us a coffee, hit the like button down there on the comment section. There's different levels of subscriptions. If you really enjoy the content, it really helps us a lot. It helps us grow the channel. There's different ways that you can help out. I mean, if you see the email addresses, if you don't want to say contribute to the channel that way, if you want to send email, you want to send e-transfer, you want to do PayPal, you can just send an email, social media, like however you want to do it. I'll leave it up to you. You don't have to, and I know things are tough these days. I really understand that the economy's not getting better. The cost of living is going high for everybody. So many people struggling in abject government-imposed poverty across Canada. We can turn things around. We can easily, as society, and how do we do that? It's called respect. Respect the people, the citizens of Canada. Tax
respect
the billionaires.
Life and death. Respect life and death.
Yeah, respect life and death. I mean, tax the billionaires. Do what you got to do. The money's all there. You got, before we end the show, we got the EI, the GST, child tax credits, OAS, GIS. I mean, all these services are there to do a basic income or a UBI or whatever you want to call it. There's different ways of wording it. It's a guaranteed income supplement that seniors get.
And what does guaranteed mean, Ben? What does guaranteed mean?
It's gonna be there. It's supposed to be guaranteed to be there. So, I mean, we can do it as governments. They can do it. And who, everybody, who is government? We are.
That's true.
We are
That's true.
We are the government.
Yeah.
We elect them to represent our needs. And if they're not representing our needs, well, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So we can change the policies. We have to get the ones that are elected to change the policies. Mm-hmm. The leaders that the mandate letters they give to their ministers or MPPs or MPs. Okay, in those mandate letters, get rid of poverty.
One of the things I would add in the mandate letter is that pensions are guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Pensions are guaranteed.
Nobody should be living under the federal level of poverty, right? Yeah. And one of our guests that we're going to be having coming up soon, which we'll reach out to, will be Jeff Leggett. He's from the Disability Action of Canada. So stay tuned on a upcoming podcast. We'll do a refresher and have Jeff come on. Always lovely having Jeff coming on and giving his perspective of where does he see things across our beautiful country. How do we take care of our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers? When you lose a loved one, it really has a ripple effect.
It's big. It's big, right?
It is big. It is big, and we're coping. We're getting through things slowly but surely. I know Neil wasn't sure if today's podcast, if I was going to be ready to do the podcast. Mm-hmm. I said, you know what, I'm ready because I know that Sonjia's grandma would want us to continue on advocating and putting pressure on our politicians.
And like I said, we came up with this idea because of Sonjia's grandma.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the whole reason why we did the show today was because
I know that she said to me in one conversation when I was visiting at her house, she says, "You kill and kick their butts." She says, "Their butts." She said.
But actually, I did also want to say we should say that we were going to have Mary Jean on, right, to talk about the shelter rate, and she had to postpone because of the death of Sonjia's grandma. So the next available time that she could come on, that MJ could come on, is this coming Friday. So
a week from today.
A week from today. So we rescheduled her for Friday because that was the next available time that she could come on. So she's going to come on
Friday,
a week from today. She's going to come on and talk about the shelter rate.
Yeah, Friday, September 19th. And if you haven't signed MJ's petition, there's a petition going out there right now. Please sign it. It'd be greatly appreciated. if you're on Facebook or any other social media platform like X or Twitter, definitely look for that petition. It's out there. Definitely, there's a video out there too that explains what's going on there. Look up City News TV. She was on there. Given her lived experience of what she wants to see happen from our provincial government. There was also an individual that was actually on that interview too, who I would love to get onto the podcast, by the way. James, yes. James Schultz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that would be lovely. Great advocate. And then he wants to hold the BC government to their feet to the fire. I mean, nobody should be living in poverty. Like, you can't rent anywhere for a whole PWD check. And a whole PWD check in BC is $1483.50.
Rent is not $500.
Yeah.
Rent is not $500.
I can tell you that one of the corporate landlords that lives close by, and I didn't even know. I thought they were actually condominiums. Our next door neighbor. I thought they were condominiums since I've been living here. I never asked. I ran into our next door neighbor, and he was standing in our front lawn a couple of days ago, Neil and everyone. And can I help you? And he's just standing there, and with his phone, and he's like zooming in. And I don't know, what are you zooming in on? I said, can I help you? I thought maybe he was looking for a rental or something. He goes, no, I'm your next door neighbor. Oh, okay. And he says, no, I'm actually the manager next door. Oh, those are the condos. He goes, no, they're rentals. They're rentals. Oh, wow. Yeah, we actually keep up with our building better than your management company does. Okay. I said, well, I'm not going to go there and rock the boat, but I said, it is what it is. I mean, I just pay my rent, and I'm grateful that I got a roof over my head. Ideally, I would love to have something more modernized, but unfortunately, the government refuses to raise our rents. I told the manager that the government refuses to raise our PWD income up to what the market level is. I mean, according to what they should be, and that's kind of a takeoff to what one of our guests that Mary's going to be talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take the wind out of the
next
first
Friday.
hill.
Next Friday.
So that she'll continue on where I left off on that one, but the gentleman's jaw dropped. He could not believe what the check was. He says, so I thought your shelter, they call it shelter, right? I go, yeah. So what it's not, because right now I can tell you in my building right now, it's like $2,025 for one bedroom. Oh my God. He goes, so what did they give you? I go, well, the whole check is $1483.50. If you opt out of the bus pass, you can get another $52. Okay, so but you got no transportation. Yeah, well, the government says suck it up, or basically use the money to go and buy food, or put it to your toward your rent.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah. So he says so basically you're given that choice. I go, yeah. He goes, no. Where's that $45 a year bus pass? I go, well, the fact is they give a choice: either take the money or take the transportation.
Someone with a disability took it away.
Yeah, he said, yeah, it needs to be reinstated. I said, but anyway, that's another podcast to sell. But that was coming from a corporate landlord, okay, government, really? Again, the narrative that was thrown out there was we restored bus passes. No, you did not, okay? So, but anyway, the belief from a corporate landlord thinks that LPWD are getting $2,500 for their shelter.
Yeah.
I don't know why that people are thinking that, because if that was the case, you would have less homeless people on the streets. People would have better housing. They'd have better health care for themselves. They could take care of themselves, put less strain on the healthcare system.
Yeah.
I know we can do better as society. We can do it. So governments, please, I want whoever's telling you not to raise rates, hey, you need to maybe get rid of them. Yeah. Probably like yesterday. Like get rid of the ones that are telling you not to do it, right? In your mandate letters going forward, you need to now find ways of incrementally putting the rates up to a standard, okay? And that needs to be at a standard, no more below 50% or 60 or 70% below poverty level nationally. Everybody needs to lift everybody up. Everybody needs to be lifted up. We're in a wealthy country. We can do it. We can take care of ourselves. If we can take care of our billionaires, okay, I'm sure we can take care of our citizens. Billionaires are doing okay for themselves. Yeah.
I feel like
every-
I need to do another song, Brent. Is that okay?
Sing me a song,
You
Neil.
know, the Beatles classic, "Live and Let Die."
Yeah.
Dun, dun, live and let die. Live and let die.
Let's get Tom. You get Tom on there and play us the guitar.
That's what the governments are singing. Live and let die.
Yeah. Actually, before we sign off, I want to make a little note for everybody on our YouTube channel. As you know, there's some of our shows that we have out there that have some music in there. We knock on wood that YouTube doesn't flag our music.
Yeah.
The problem is that, I mean, you can maybe let our audience know, Neil, how that works. Sometimes YouTube will be picky. Some songs are they'll just let it go, and there's other times.
I've been not doing as much songs anymore on the YouTube because YouTube flags it, and if they flag it, it means that I don't get monetized or you don't get monetized, so we both don't get monetized.
So it slows down the process of that video.
For the videos, yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, some of our other videos take off really well, but the other ones that we want to say have monetized, they won't monetize it.
Yeah.
But there's other times that they will monetize it. They're picky and choosy. There was
and we still haven't reached the monetization level, we have to say, either. No. But it's just that it doesn't count all this stuff that we have. If we have licensed music on it, it doesn't count towards the monetization level. So we're still at the $3,000 level, which is okay. But we need to get to $4,000 4,000 hours of watch time, I should say. And right now we're at 3,000 hours for the year, but if we need to get to 4,000 hours. Well, YouTube has taken away, I think, like, it's crazy, like almost, I think it's like 800 hours of watch time, because we had so much of videos early on when I posted with licensed music. So they just basically, I think they took away, it was almost 800 hours worth of videos that they're saying, oh, you can't monetize that, sorry. So it was like, oh crap.
Yeah, and you know, the frustrating part is, like, if I'm doing a break-in with Brent segment and I'm walking by somewhere and there's music going, they will flag that, everybody. They will flag that. I mean, really,
and I'll be honest, like, I understand that. I understand that because the people that make the music, they should get paid for, because it is licensed property. That does belong to somebody. Yeah. So it makes sense. It does make sense. It's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
It's like we have Rifflandia in Victoria for 4 days. So imagine if I'm doing a break-in with Brent and there's some kind of activity going on that caught my eye, and I think, hey, this is neat. And all of a sudden, you go at Rifflandia, that's in the distance, somewhere in the distance, and YouTube picks up on the music somewhere. I mean, I could be up where I am right now, and I'm away from the downtown area where Rifflandia is. The sound echoes up to here. So if I'm doing some other segment, watching, say, some old houses getting torn down, and there's music, and it does echo up to where I am, and I'm quite a ways away from downtown. If YouTube picks up on that sound, they'll flag it. And I have no control on that, everybody. Yeah. So I apologize is that if our monetization is taking a lot longer. I mean, nothing against YouTube, but I mean
it's my fault, kind of, Brent. It's my fault, kind of, because I was the one that put a whole bunch of licensed stuff at the beginning of all our videos. In the early couple of years, I did that. But anyway,
but it
it is what it is.
But I mean, we had some like tribute artists where I was at OK, and. Yeah, we had the Tea Party Festival, which was so cool. And it was so frustrating because they were like really good music artists, and the Bare Naked Ladies, they didn't flag it. They flagged Billy Joel.
It was weird, eh?
Like, come on, YouTube. I mean, the taste of music here. I mean, you gotta love some of this music. I mean, I actually talked to one of them. I bumped into one guy, and he says, "Hey, you look familiar." And I gave him one of the cards from our PWD Allies cards. And he says, awesome. He says, I love your YouTube channel. I said, do you tune in? He says, I do. And guess what? He says, I like how you edited down the part there. You kept in the Bare Naked Ladies, but you took out Billy Joel. Why did you do that? I go, we didn't. We didn't take it out. What? No, YouTube took it out. Why? I go, I don't know. I guess they don't like Billy Joel. I guess. And he goes, what? I go, yeah. He goes, oh, they're too picky. He says the problem is that YouTube, whoever's behind there, they're just too picky.
And again, I do understand it on one level. I do.
Yeah, on a
it's
certain
just
level,
kind
I
of
do,
unfortunate. Yeah.
but I think that maybe they need to relax a little bit on
A little
that.
bit. Yeah.
I told him, I said, if that was the case, I would have actually said to you, can I have permission? I said, I would have, I said, and he says, I would have done it for free, man. I mean, I'm not going to bill you for it. I'd be like, yeah, no problem. He says, I'm sure Billy Joel wouldn't have cared, man. I really, probably not.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I mean, I had a chance, almost had a chance of actually seeing him. But, well, maybe. No,
I love this song. Honesty is such a lonely word.
Yeah.
Everyone is so untrue.
Untrue. Reminds me of that movie, Liar, Liar, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the lawyer. Yeah,
another lawyer. Yeah, there you go.
I can't lie. I can't. Jim Carrey, I can't.
That was a good movie. Anyway, we got to punch out, Brent.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Monday. And our guest will be Neil.
Monday. I actually don't know if I'm allowed to say who it is yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But when I'm allowed to say who it is,
it'll be a surprise.
I will post it. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise.
Like maybe I am allowed to say it. I'm not sure, so I don't want to say it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now it's the mystery, but stay tuned Monday.
Yeah.
That will be kind of the hint. Watch kind of a teaser.
Okay. Cheers, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.